Can you hear me? Welcome. Good morning. I first want to thank Bernard Rolleder and his whole team. What a great event. What an energy. Serious, if you build an event like this and get the energy and the enthusiasm, that is not easy. So thank you. My name is Jaap Zuiderveld. I'm responsible for the business in EMEAI for NVIDIA. Today I'm going to share some initiatives and stories around AI nations. It's not going to be a 2-hour, it's only going to be a 20-minute speech. But before I start, I want to share a small video with you.
I am AI. Accelerating your discoveries to solve the great challenges of our time. I am a visionary, bringing characters to life with more natural movement, generating brilliant new worlds for them to explore, and inventing new ways to bring out the creative genius in us all. I am a protector, leading the way into the most dangerous environments and searching for signs of life. I am a guardian, listening for the sounds of destruction to save our forests, and using satellites to bring freedom to those who are enslaved. I am a navigator, finding safer paths for cross-country deliveries and taking personal travel to new heights. I am a scientist, exploring oceans of data to understand extreme weather patterns and studying the building blocks of life to save a community from hunger. I am a healer, giving hope to those who suffer from the most challenging diseases. And tapping into the brain to rejuvenate paralyzed limbs. I am even the composer of the music you're hearing. I am AI, brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, and brilliant minds everywhere.
So, AI. So yesterday, Tim from Deutsche Telekom mentioned that China, US, is ahead of Europe. I think there's still room for Europe to speed up. And let me share some of the AI initiatives around the world and guide you through how we see that AI nations are approaching AI. Everybody who sits here gets confronted with AI. If you use Google, Facebook, who everybody does, you already work with AI. It's known, yeah? Now, there are 3 key metrics we look at. It's technology, it's skills, what you need to have, it's super important. And the third one is have knowledge around industries. How do you get industries investing into AI? Yeah? Now, let me share with you, is it going to the next slide? Yeah, so don't worry, I'm not going to go through the whole slide. But this is NVIDIA today. We're the leaders in AI. I can describe this slide very easily. We have a single architecture. You can put it in any device into a data center, in the cloud, proprietary, And software defines what you do, what the usage is of the architecture. Period. I described the slide. That's how easy it is. I think more important is to understand today, every researcher in the world knows us, did their work based on NVIDIA GPUs. We're already engaged for years with the higher education market, so all the universities, Cambridge, MUC in München, yeah? Oxford, Stanford, it doesn't matter. All the main universities, we partner with them already for years. It's not something we do today. And in the enterprise world, because I'm going to go there, you know, when you look at the enterprise world, it's about understanding the industries. Today, 1 out of 7 large industries use AI. And why do they use it? Because they want to be competitive. And think about this. Business will go to those who start with it, who become more competitive. It's all about becoming more competitive, having more insight in your customer base, designing products faster, go to market faster, it doesn't matter. Those are things they look at. And they will pick they count a little bit, $1.3 trillion of business from those who don't. That is the race. That's what's happening. Yeah? 25% of the business today say they have a plan. 9% say they will never work on AI. That might be the case. But for sure, AI is everywhere. Now, it doesn't matter if you work for the government, if you work for a startup, if you work for a large company, you will be confronted with AI. And that is important to understand. And I want to share some of our views, yeah, in some of the countries where we are engaged with. So, if I, you know, think about it, those are some of the countries which are really, you know, on the ball and are using AI and to create a competitive edge as a country among other nations. I can say nation, countries, EU maybe, it doesn't matter. What matters is, what are you going to do as a nation to create that environment that you excel? How are you going to cooperate with startups? How are you going to do the skills gaps? What are you going to do on skills? These are all things you need to think around. Yeah? What are your objectives? What do you want to define? It's super important to understand that. And if I look at it, there are 4 key areas. One is talent. Talent comes from universities. How do you keep talent? How do you keep talent on board? How do you train them? Today, there's a large influx of talent moving to US or China. Why? I can give you the answer, but for sure we need to keep them in Europe. Cambridge, one of the best universities. But talent goes to the US, as simple because they will pay a lot for talent. And we have great talent in Europe, and we need to be very careful of that. That's why we need to speed up. Yeah? Research. We're involved in different research labs in Europe. Jülich is an example. I can mention many of them. DFKI, we work very closely with DFKI. But it's important to stay with them. We started with them and we need to stay close to them. And it's important that we use the knowledge they have and incorporate that in what we want to achieve as a nation. Innovation transfer. How do you do that? How do you transfer innovation, you know, in the country, into startups? How do you motivate startups to move on this? And the last one is, how do you upscale your workforce? How do you train your workforce? How do you scale that up? These are the 4 items which are very important and will define, you know, are you moving as an AI nation, yes or no? Now, I went through a couple of, let's say, countries. I showed a picture and I come back to it. Japan. They have a singular strategy in looking at this, and they work together as a country. I put Taiwan. Taiwan is one of the first countries where we got engaged with. And they're following all the skills gap, the technology, skills, and industry. England has a strategy. I know they have some other things, so I'm not going to go into that, but they have a strategy on, certainly they have a strategy on AI. Germany, the FTI, one of the leading partners, has a strategy. And everyone is mentioning, yeah, we're going to invest 3 billion, that is Germany. France, they're going to invest shy to 1 billion. EU, we're going to invest 20 billion. High numbers. But what does that really mean? How do you translate that into action? What does that mean, all that money? Where does that money go? How do you make it work? We all understand there is money, but how do you make that money work? How do you make it work for the country? That is important to understand. Now, let me share with you one of the countries which is moving pretty fast. It's the smallest country in Europe, by the way. They only have 600,000 inhabitants. Yeah, it's probably the smallest country in Europe. And they have an area of 2.6 kilometers. It's nothing. But they are far ahead. We started working with Luxembourg in 2018, summer. It's about more than a year ago, yeah? And they are moving fast. And they're moving fast because they're integrating AI into the 3 pillars I mentioned. Higher education, skills. Their universities, research, working together on research themes, yeah? Working together on the industries. Which are the industries I'm going to focus on? How we're going to help them? Knowledge we have from all the industries we work together. In healthcare, automotive, we're leading in autonomous driving. What knowledge transfer can we give them and can they work from? So these are all things work on. So, and it's important to understand, so there are a couple of key factors. So how do you build an innovation platform? How do you deploy your let's say, AI environment? How do you do that? What's the technology behind that? How do you collaborate on research? And we have a wide breadth. We work with all of them in the world, and we can share that. We can share that with the countries. Education, it's a given, I already told so. And the last one, the industry solutions. And in particular, some industry solutions where we are the front runner of how you focus on those industries and what you do. I just want to, before I finish, yeah, I just want to give this. I think there is a space in where we, as Europe, can still step up. And we need to think about this. It's very important that we all team together from a company perspective, from industries, that we invest in the right way, from research to education, and then from a technology point of view. And it's all about working together and make this work. And I believe that Europe can speed up immensely. The example is there. Luxembourg is a very good example. They're focusing to the key pillars which, in my belief, are very important. Yeah, and you need to make sure that you keep focusing and you, as a team, work together. You know, I think yesterday, Professor Dengel from DFKI mentioned that how do you make AI human-centric? That is very important. Yeah, and I hear a lot of us talking about, you know, what is AI really? What are we going to do? How are we going to put rules around it? But one thing I want to say, what we did in research today is amazing. The changes, you know, research were made. It's all about saving people's lives. Things which we were not able to do today. And that is important to understand. I think also Cecilia mentioned yesterday a couple of times that we need to move much faster. And I agree, we need to move faster. We need to more think about what are the solutions we're looking at. How do we work together? How do we cooperate? And how do we look at it in a more holistic view instead of just that technology? Technology is just a part of it. Skills is the complexity. And understanding the industry segments is not easy also. I would like to keep it to this. Yeah? It's a general overview. I'm available in the speakers area. You can come and speak to me. I hope this helps a little bit. Thank you very much for listening to me. And have a good day. Thank you.